actually get started. Yeah, so how to create an account. I'm going to start right at the beginning with how to create a Canva account. If any of you have access to a computer and would like to follow along, I recommend getting the Canva website up now. However, you don't have to follow along. You can just watch what I'm doing, maybe take some notes and then watch the video afterwards. It just depends on your style of learning, really. You can then practice what I'm saying in real time. But yeah, it depends on your learning style. Yeah, so you can, if you are going to be following along, you can minimize Zoom and just put me so that you can just hear me. I'm going to turn my camera off now so that you can focus properly on the Zoom, on the what's it called, the PowerPoint. And I'm just going to move this onto my screen so that I can see you all. And there we go. So I'm hoping everyone can still see that. There we go. Can everyone see this, or can they see my home screen? Oh wait, it's green. I know that you can see it. Right, so if you're following along, go to canva.com now. If not, then just listen to me and you'll be able to have a look on your own time once we finish. Yeah, so the most important thing to know here is that there are two different options for Canva accounts. So here at the Volunteer Network, we use a Canva Pro account. This costs $10.99 a month for up to 5 people. Ooh, sorry, everyone. It's just disappeared. There we go. Yeah, so the first thing to note is that you can have 2 different accounts. You can have a Canva free account or a Canva Pro account. The Canva Pro account is $10.99 a month for up to 5 people, and it allows you to use a couple different features that the free account cannot access. This includes things like extra templates, the ability to resize, and also different images which are not as royalty free as the other ones. However, you can be perfectly fine just using Canva free. There's so many different free templates which I will be showing you soon, and you can do almost all of the features that I will be showing you today. So if you haven't got a Canva account, the first thing we need to do is make one. So you reach, when you type in canva.com, you'll come to this page as it says on number 1 here on this PowerPoint. You can click sign up in the top right corner. And if your organization has a Google, a Facebook, or an Apple account, you can make your account very quickly by logging in using those details. If you don't, you can register using your email address. You'll be asked to input some basic information and then to log into your email address to approve the account. Once you have clicked the link in your email, you can get started on Canva. If it's your first time logging in, a box may appear asking you what type of organization you are. So it will say, are you going to be using Canva because you're a school, because you're a charity, because you're a teacher, things like that. And it will do a kind of demonstration very quickly of how to use some of the basic features. You can follow this along, or you can just click the buttons in the top right corner to skip this. Okay, so once you've got your account, some of the most important things to realize before you start actually making your content is how to make your brand identifiable. So you've got to take some time to think about what colors, fonts, and images you would like to use to represent your group, your charity, your event, etc. You can look at the font bar, the colors available, and various images, which I will be showing you just after this slide, how to look at all of these things. For example, here at the Volunteer Network, we mainly use this red, this orange, this yellow, and this pink. And we also mainly use when I'm creating social media content, I mainly use the font League Spartan or Quicksand. These are just the names of the fonts that I use. And I always ensure that I import the logo. This ensures that all of our images look engaging, they look cohesive, and it's a very easy way to make your images look more professional. At this point, it would be a good idea if your organization does have a logo to import it. Canva allows you to upload most files, so JPEGs, PNGs, MP4s, and GIFs, meaning all different types of files can be uploaded. I'm now going to quickly show you how to import that. So bear with me a second while I get our Canva up. I'm going to open just a random design. We'll go on Twitter post for this demonstration. So if any of you would like to upload your logo, you will go here, upload media. And then I have a Mac, so it looks a little bit different, but this will be how you do it on Mac, and then Windows will be the same, just it will look slightly different. You then simply click your logo and it will upload into this bar on the left under the upload section. You can then either drag and drop it onto your file and you'll be able to resize it, or you can simply click it. I've just left clicked there and it's on. So that's step one, you've got your logo uploaded. So you're on the right track. You can even, at this point, just create a fun little picture just of your logo and post that if you wanted to. Da-da-da. Okay, so now that we've uploaded our file and we've uploaded our logo, I'm going to show you all the different purposes that you can use Canva for. Just by looking at the different templates, you can see how many different uses it has. The bar can be found at the top of the site. So as you can see here, at the top left, it says templates. The two columns that you'll most likely be using are social media here and marketing. But if you're putting together some resources, maybe for, I don't know, a sports class, or you might want to do a presentation like the one I'm doing now, you could make that on here too. But I'm going to be focusing just on social media and marketing for the purpose of this course. Please do be aware, however, as I show you some of these, we go on to Instagram posts, that you will notice that there is some, for us it says free, this is because we have a Canva Pro, but if you notice that there is a crown in the bottom right, that means that it's a template that is only available to Canva Pro. As I'm using a Canva Pro account, it is showing all of these templates, so it does look like they're all Pro templates, but that's not the case. On my personal account, I have a free Canva account, and there's so many different templates that I can still use. So I'm now just going to open up a template for a Facebook post, and then I'm going to demonstrate how we can change the colors, the fonts, and add our logo to make sure that just any template can suddenly look like it belongs to the BBW Volunteer Network. So let's open up this one. So this at first glance doesn't really look like it has much to do with the volunteer network, but I can change all that. I can change this background color to a color that matches ours. This color is from our logo, so I'm just going to slightly change it so that once I import the logo, you'll still be able to see it. That's a pro tip. I always forget that. I go straight for the colors which are featured in the logo, and then I forget that the logo will disappear. So we can add our colors. I'm doing this just by clicking onto these images here and then coming to the left. And then I can change this font to the font I mentioned earlier. So I usually use League Spartan. You can see it's already there from how often I use it. And I could write, I don't know, thank you, volunteers. Exclamation mark. These boxes here works just the same as any on Word or Publisher or Google Docs. You just drag and drop. And then I can write with my second font. So as I said, I almost always use League Spartan as a title and then Quicksand for information. So I've changed the colors, I've changed the font. Now I just need to add my logo. I'm going to get rid of these bits. I apologize in advance if you can hear my laptop whirring away. So there you go. That was a very quick transition from this template, which didn't really look like it had anything to do with the volunteer network, to one which is very clearly identifiable with our charity. Okay, so now that I have this template in place, I'm going to show you how to use some of the key functions of Canva. I will warn you, there's going to be a little bit of information all in one go, but once you have Canva up for yourself, you'll be able to test this out and play around, and before you know it, you'll know what you're doing. So firstly, I'll show you what everything on the bar means, this left bar. And then I'll go into how to save and upload your content. This section is focused on creating online content, but everything you learn here can be used to make posters, flyers, magazines, etc. So on the left here, we have templates. This opens up what we just saw. So we saw it on this main page. But then once you're actually into this editing section, you can also see it again. This is really useful if, for example, you're trying to make quite a few different graphics in one go. So you can click Add Page here at the bottom, and then you can just import another template and do what we just did, change all the colors, add your logo, change the fonts, etc. We then have the bar that you'll probably be using the most, and this is called the Elements bar. So before, back a couple months ago, Canva used to have all these different elements in one go, but now they've separated, they've combined them all into one bar. So you can find photos, GIFs, graphics, videos, anything really within this bar. So I'm going to show you how to search for something and then how to filter. We're going to look for a star. So if I type in star, as you can see, I can look at all pictures. I can look at just photos. I can look at just graphics, which on Canva tends to mean like animated images rather than actual photographs. I can look at videos. I will warn you, if you are trying to make something for Twitter or Facebook, steer clear from using videos because it makes the file huge and then won't be allowed to use it. We then have an audio section, which I don't use this very often, but potentially if you're making something such as an Instagram story, you might want to use that. You can also up here filter it even further. So you can look for a specific color. You can decide if you want it to be square, vertical, or horizontal. You can decide if you want it static or animated. And this is a really great feature. If you're on a free account, you can filter to find things that are either free or pro. So as some of you may be on a free account, I'm just going to apply that filter now. So as you can see, there's loads of images here. It's really useful. These are all free images as well. So there's no need to have a to buy a pro account if you're just getting started. So once again, I can just click this. I'm just pressing my left click on the mouse to import that. Or again, I can drag and drop and then resize as I wish. You can also find some really exciting animated images. This is a really fun way to just make your image more engaging. I clicked animated, but none is showing up now. But you can basically it would look like a shooting star or something like that. It's quite nice. Here we go. I always like these. Add some sparkles. Yeah, should I add that here? And there you go. Now you've got some animated. I'm just going to remove this at the moment because it's a little bit distracting having that sparkling around in the background. So I've already showed you the upload section. I won't show you this again just because we've already gone into it. There's also a text section. Bear with me while I get my notes here. So you can choose from a preformed heading, subheading, and block of text. This just means that they've already worked out the proportions of how you may want to structure a block of text. I'm just putting them on here so that you can see how they compare. And then once again, you can just change them to your fonts. Yeah, I will change them to ours. I've not got anything to write here, but just going to demonstrate. And always remember that you can change the color, the size, and the font. I'm going to go through this big, exciting bar once I go through this left column, and then we'll be able to show you exactly how to change everything that you might want to change. They can look very effective. It gets really exciting when you, well, exciting if you're a graphic nerd like me, but you can change all different things. But for now, we'll go back There's also these font combinations. So this is a great way to get something that looks really professional without having to fiddle around with the settings yourself. So you can import any of these. I'm just going to move this out away so I can show you what that looks like. And I'm just going to delete these. So the font combinations, there are so many different ones. I'm going to just import this. So I just clicked that to get that in. And remember, every time you look at these, see this is purple and blue. I could change that to red and yellow if I wanted. This thank you is slanted at an angle. I can click this button here at the bottom of the text box, and I can change it to be horizontal, to be at an angle. I can change any of it basically. So remember, obviously, to consider your audience when you're choosing a font or resizing things. Some of the fonts can be a little hard to read and they can also be a little small. So I always recommend just erring on the side of caution, because you don't want to accidentally post something or print something which then can't be read, especially these kind of, what would you call these, like handwritten calligraphy kind of fonts. They can, this one's good, but some of them can be very jumbled up and it can be hard to read. But there's all sorts of different ones that you can download here or upload, sorry, to your design. And they all look really funky. Right, next we're going to go to the next step, and that's background. I have to admit, backgrounds I don't use very often. I tend to find that the backgrounds available on here can be quite busy. I mean, if we look at this, it'll be very hard to get some font on top of this to make it easy to read. Although this little box does work, doesn't it? So maybe I should take that back. But for now, I'm going to keep my background how it is. There's so many different types of backgrounds. Again, some are free, some are paid. But you can also just change the generic color of your background here. So we can change it to blue, purple, pink, red, all types of colors. I'm going to go back to our yellow. So while I'm here, I'm just going to move this and show you very quickly how to copy, paste, and undo. So as you saw there, I got this background and I thought, oh, I don't really like that very much. So I can go to this top left corner and I can click undo, or something that gets a lot easier, and over time you'll get into the habit of doing this. I can use keyboard shortcuts. So by that I mean I've got a little picture up in case. Here we go. So Canva, when it comes to copy and pasting, it doesn't always allow you to do the right click on your mouse and click right and then press copy and paste. I don't know why. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and it will flash up with a message telling you to use these keyboard shortcuts. So if you are using a Windows, a desktop computer or laptop, to copy, you can press Control and C. To paste, you can press Control and V. And to undo, you can press Control and Z. If you're on a Mac, then it's the exact same letters, you just press Command instead. So I'll leave that on there in case anyone wants to take a note. Of course, these are like shortcuts which you can use generally on the computer, but I know I didn't really use them very often until I started using Canva, and then the messages kept flashing up that I needed to use them. I promise, even if you don't use it right now, once you start using it, you'll forget that you ever pressed right click. You've got a little reminder here of how to do that. But yeah, as I said, sometimes it does just let you copy. Sometimes a message will flash up saying to use the keyboard shortcuts. It's not very consistent. Okay, just had a sip of water there. So now we're going to go to these features. So as you can see on ours, it says Charts, Google Drive, and Bitmoji. This probably won't say this on your account. It's just that once you click on something from this More section, so say I clicked emoji, it will then put it onto this bar. But I am going to show you some of the features of the More section. So a lot of these are a bit more in depth and you probably won't use them day to day, but there are some great features on here. So the one I was messing around with to show you all is this charts section. So if you are doing a presentation or maybe you're making an infographic, you can import a bar chart, a pie chart, all kinds of charts. and you can demonstrate them on here. You can also connect it with Google Sheets. If you use Google Sheets and you want to present some data, then that's a really good option there. In this case, when I was messing around, I was just thinking, you know, say we did a survey and we wanted to know where people liked volunteering best, and we had, I don't know, a shop, in sports, at a school. What are some other examples? In the community, and we'll say, I don't know, with animals. Then I can represent that on this pie chart. So say, I'm going to try and do some maths here to add this up. 20, 40, 50, 80, 20, there we go. And then I can really easily demonstrate that in this chart. So that's a really funky little trick. You can also change the colors, but do warn you here, it changes them sort of proportionally within the color family. So if I press yellow, it then comes up with greens, brown comes up with purples, blue comes up with pinks and purples, etc. That is a tool that might come in handy. There are other charts that you can use. So as you can see, there's all sorts of different ones, which I'm not very mathematically inclined, so I won't try and demonstrate those because I'll probably embarrass myself, but they are great if you want to use them. In the More section, you can also connect your Google Drive so that images from your Google Drive can upload straight to here. I also noticed a Bitmoji section on here. It's got ours right here because I clicked on it, but you can connect your Bitmoji account just by clicking connect, and it will ask you to log in via Snapchat. And then your Bitmoji images will be here, which I've seen. I know we used Bitmojis a couple of times, so it'd be really good to connect them here and have our Bitmojis all in one go, and then you can easily drag and drop them onto your document. There's also finally a section on logos. I believe this is only a feature for Canva Pro. So in our case, we have our logos uploaded on here directly, and it just means that every time we start to make a document, we can quickly have our upload our logo. So yeah, that is the left column. I know that was a lot of information all in one go, but now next time you're on Canva, you can click through and then you'll already have a bit of an idea what you're doing. So I'm now just going to show you how to use the functions on this horizontal bar. So you'll notice that right now there's nothing on here, and that's because this bar changes depending on what you've clicked on. I'm first going to show you what happens when you want to edit a text box, and then I'm going to show you about when you click on an image or an element that you've uploaded. So we'll start with text. So here you can change your fonts. A really cool feature on here is you can kind of search. You can see me searching Quicksand and League Spartan all the time, but you can search like a style of font or kind of a vibe rather than having to know the exact name. So here I can just look for handwriting fonts and they'll all come up, which I quite like. It's a good feature. Once you've got this, you can change your fonts, obviously, and then you can change the sizes. One of the things I really like is when you're clicking up and down, it changes it in real time, which is really useful because you can see how it looks proportionally with the rest of your document. You can also change the color of your font. A great feature here is it picks up colors from images that you've uploaded, and then you can pick the colors out of that. So we could change it to pink, to gray, to yellow. It's a really useful feature and it just saves some time. You'll notice here that we have a brand kit. This is a Canva Pro feature. So if you're on a free account, you won't see this on yours. It just means that we've already uploaded our colors with the code of the name of the color. I would recommend if you find some colors that you really like. So I'll just type in blue here, or green or anything like that. And you want to make sure you always have this color. Click this button here on the top left and take note of this number or code, letters, there's numbers and letters there, and write it down, put it in like a shared Google file or in your notebook that you use with all of your notes, because then you'll just really easily be able to put this in and make sure you get the exact same color next time. It's a great way of gaining consistency. Okay, so there's also the section where you can bold or make your font go bold or put it into italics. This font, League Spartan, doesn't allow you to do that, so it's not an option, but Quicksand does let you put it in bold, so as you can see, we made it bold. You can also underline. You can quickly change it to upper or lowercase if the font allows again. Here we go. We can change the alignment. So I will make this text box. Ooh. Did not mean to do that. Yeah, so you can make this text box bigger and then go middle, side, and a great way to make sure it's always centrally aligned is to make your text box as big as the image that you're putting it within. So as you can see, I've made it fit this white box. So then when I click center, it's always going to be the absolute center. Sometimes you might like forget and then you'll end up trying to center it and then center the box within that, and it can get a bit confusing. You can also add bullet points. And one of my favorite features here is called spacing. So for this, I'm just going to quickly type some random sentence words. Ignore this, is all gobbledygook. But with this feature, with this line, I can change the spacing of the letter. So if you're trying to fit something into a small box or onto an A4 page, etc., this is a great feature because you can change the line spacing. I know it might be a little bit hard to see because this box is in the way. I'll move it down a bit. And then you can overlap or etc. It's a really useful feature if you're trying to fit something. And then you can like anchor it, whether it's going down in the middle or up. There is also, we're almost getting there on this line, an effects function. So I won't go through all of these, but this is just a fun way to make some funky looking text. So the one I use the most is definitely shadow. I'm going to demonstrate it on the thank you rather than on the random letters down here. So this can basically just make it look like you've overlapped two text boxes. So I can change this color to like blue or black. It's a little bit hard to see. So I always tend to increase this so that it's no longer transparent. And then add a color, and you can change the direction for offset. There we go. I really like this feature, especially if you're making something that's going into print, because it's a great way to make it clear. If you've got a distracting background and you want your font to be able to stand out, then you can do it by adding this. You can also animate. Again, a lot of these will only be available to Pro, but as you can see, actually, there's quite a few which you can have. If you're making your image into a GIF, then you can use these because then it will be animated. There's so many different ones. I'm just hovering over them. This is something I like. If you just hover over it, you don't have to commit or click to it. Just hover over it and then it will show you what it looks like. There, okay. So we've almost got to the end of this horizontal line here. You can also change the position. So you can send it backwards, forwards, align it within the page. Once you end up having a lot of these elements, you'll definitely find this very useful. So you can send it to the front, meaning if I sent this to the back, I suddenly wouldn't be able to see it, but I could move it forward and then it would be at the front. You can also click this button if you want to try and duplicate this style. I don't really use this very often. You can change the transparency. This is great for elements. You can make them so that they are less bold or something like that. And you can also add a link. So I'm just going to highlight this here and click this button. And here I can enter a link. So I'm just going to type in www.facebook.com. And then once I press enter, this here is now linked to Facebook. So when it comes to us, we publish Community Connection online. And on the online version, when someone is looking at it on our website, they are able to click, for example, if this said Facebook, they would be able to click that and it would take it to the Facebook page. Obviously, though, if you're printing something or if you're putting it on, downloading the picture and then putting it onto Facebook or Twitter, then the link won't apply. It will not work. You can also lock things in place. So say I didn't want this to move, I could click this lock and it will be locked there, and it will mean that nothing else can be edited. You can duplicate. So this little button here means I can easily duplicate. You can duplicate lots of things at once. And also, if you want to duplicate an entire template, say that you made this and you were going to change it every week to show a different initiative, you could press this and just duplicate the page entirely and then change the words or maybe change the colors here and there. And then finally, there's just the delete button. So you can delete. I don't want to delete, so I'm pressing Command Z on my computer. It'll be Control Z on yours to undo that. Okay, now I am going to click on this element and quickly show you the functions on here, which are slightly different for an element instead of a text box. So again, you've got these photos. I won't go through that again, but the biggest difference here will be that there is this section here where you can edit images. A lot of these you might find that you don't actually use, but they are just all sorts of filters that will change how your image looks. I'm not going to click on them just because they tend to change everything on the file and I don't want to have to undo that. But there are all sorts of different options if you do want to edit an image. So here you can see it will like pixelate it or slice it or change the colors. You can also crop your images. Say you wanted to make this a square instead of this blob, I could do that. There we go. I've now got a little, I don't know, I guess that looks like a wave, doesn't it? And once you've cropped, you may find, if you're like me, I really love things to be symmetrical, in which case I'm going to duplicate this here by pressing that button we just saw, this one. And then I'm going to flip it horizontally, and suddenly I have a symmetrical image. This obviously is not something I would publish. I'm just trying to show you all of the different features. It's not looking amazing right now, but that's because we just want to practice and demonstrate. And that's the best way to learn on here, is just to fiddle around with all of the different things that you can use. So those were the only different features when you click on an element compared to when you click on a text box. You can just edit the image, you can crop it, and you can flip it. You can also animate it the same as the text box. They're just different types of animation on here. So now that I've very quickly gone through the functions, and it is very quick, I understand, I'm just going to show you a couple extra features for if you want to organize your Canva space, how to download your file, and just quickly some of these functions down here. So one of the great things about Canva is that everything saves automatically. By that I mean it is saving on Canva itself. It's not saving to your computer. It's like a cloud, so it will save to Canva, but you won't be able to access it unless you're on Canva. That was kind of a confusing way to explain that. But once you do finish your image and you want to actually save it so that you could upload it onto Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you just want to click here to rename it. So I'm just going to rename this example. You can then click share, or I tend to click this download button. Here you can change the type of file. So you can have a PNG, a JPEG, PDF, all sorts. If you have got any kind of animation, so what we saw with the text box or with the element where it started to move, you will want to save it as an MP4 video or a GIF. Otherwise, it will just save as a static image, which is fine. But if you've put the work into wanting to make it move, you want to make sure you can actually use that. So you can just click, say, PNG. You can choose which pages you want to save. We'll just save number 1. And then you just click download and it will get download straight to your computer. There we go, design downloaded. And I don't think you can see because you can only see my internet browser, but it's now downloaded into my search bar. Before I show you quickly how to organize everything, you can also, if you're, for example, presenting or you're working on something collaboratively, I can't say that word, within your group, you can add some notes here. So I know, for example, when someone comes through and edits the magazine that I write, they put the edits here, and it just means that I can see them in real time, and so can they. You can also change how zoomed in you are. I have terrible eyesight, so I am always zooming in all of the way. You can see if you're working on multiple documents, you can see kind of holistically how everything looks in a row by clicking this button down here. If you can't properly see, I am just going along the horizontal bar at the bottom of the screen, and it might be a little small for you. You can also present if you're wanting to. We've got a presentation within a presentation here. And then there's just 2 functions down here. I think these are just reporting problems. I can't say I've used them actually. So yeah, I'm now just going to show you how you can organize. So once you've finished with everything, you may end up with a bunch of designs. So you can see here, this is me practicing this course where I practiced on separate designs. I may want to organize this because otherwise I just have a bunch of random images. I will warn you, if you straight away exit out, obviously your design will save, but it may save the thumbnail. So when you look onto it, it may be the thumbnail of the template that you used. So don't panic if you see this, it will still be your image when you open it. It's just that for some reason, it doesn't always update very quickly and it might just say the thumbnail. So there is a great folder system on Canva. So I can just create a folder to make everything go into the same place. So here, as you can see, I have just clicked the top right corner, move to folder, create new, and I can just call this example. Add to new folder. And then I can add this one too if I wanted to. Oops. Didn't mean to press that. Move to folder, example, add to folder. And then when I go into all folders on this left bar, it will be there in one go. Okie dokie. So get my PowerPoint back up. So that was a really quick whistle-stop tour of some of the key features of Canva. I hope it was useful. Please let me know if you have any further questions. I know it may seem a bit overwhelming. There's so much information in one go, but it's a great website once you get comfortable using it. If you have any question, please let me know, or you can email me. My email address is on here. We have been filming this session, so recording the screen and my voice. So once we get that recording up, we'll be able to send it to you all. And then you can rewind and pause and check, and maybe you could follow along with me, and then you'll be able to do it at the same time. And practice makes perfect. That's all I can say is at first it can be intimidating, but soon you'll be okay. So I'm just going to stop screen sharing and come back so I can see all of the frames. Yeah, so if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. If not, as I said, we will be able to send out the video for you, or you can email me. I'm back. Thank you, Jade. And thank you, Helen. Of course, if you want to leave now, you can, if you haven't got any questions. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for attending. Thank you all. Thank you for all the messages. Oh, hello, Joanna. I couldn't hear you.
That was a good one.
Oh, thank you.
So now I'm going to be faffing around with it and try it out.
Yes.
You're
going to be down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I have been using it for a couple of years now, but it's not one that I use a lot. So I wouldn't say that I've played around with all of the features, but like the basics of it. So
yeah,
it's good to get a bit more pro skills now. That was really good. Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank
it's
you.
given me the confidence to use it now.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
more.
That's what it is. Yeah, definitely. The confidence. Once you know that what you're doing is actually what you're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing.
So
Okay,
if
well,
anything, I will be hassling you for help.
yes, of course, always.